This is my audience. This is Colby. This is Alyssa. And this is Michael. My name is Kyle Lofgren. I'm a student at Mitchell Community College. This is my speech on how universities help students cope with anxiety disorders. Is it that time of year to do taxes? Is that why you're stressing? Or is it because you're suffering from some sort of anxiety? The purpose of this speech is to inform the audience of anxiety disorders and what programs universities have in place to allow students to cope with these feelings. I hope this speech will teach others with less knowledge of these disorders on what to do if you see someone struggling with anxiety. Anxiety disorders are very common, that even someone you know is most likely suffering from this in some type of way. This speech is intended to show you how to help those suffering from anxiety cope and fight the endless battle known as mental health. Did you know that anxiety disorders are the most common form of mental illness in the United States? About 40 million of Americans have some sort of anxiety disorder that they suffer from. I have friends that suffer from anxiety, so I have researched the topic extensively. I also get anxious, such as right now, while giving speeches, so you could say that I'm gaining more expertise as we speak. The goal of my speech is to increase others' knowledge of anxiety disorders, as well as how to help someone with an anxiety-related disorder, and explain what action universities take to give their students with anxiety the best possible chance to succeed. First, I would like to increase your knowledge on the variety of anxiety disorders. According to Hurley on the Psych.com website, last accessed February 27, 2020, roughly 32% of adolescents between the ages of 13 and 18 have an anxiety disorder. For adolescents with an anxiety disorder, transitioning to college presents an additional level of challenges. There are 5 major types of anxiety disorders. They level in severity as well as in many different ways. The first one is general anxiety disorder, an anxiety disorder where the person focuses on main triggers and gets more anxious over certain times and over more things than most. The second one is known as OCD, which is also known as obsessive compulsive disorder. People with this disorder avoid non-repetitive behaviors and keep a routine, and avoid things that go against routine because they will get stressed out mightily if they do. The third one is panic disorder. Health.com says this is probably the most uncomfortable type of anxiety. It is characterized by brief surges of very intense, overwhelming worry or fear. The fourth is post-traumatic stress disorder. It is based on past situations that had a major threat, and sometimes the person will have flashbacks to that situation that made him feel the legitimate threat. The last one is social anxiety disorder. This is categorized by feeling embarrassed in social situations as well as meeting somebody new, and your face will most likely get red if you have this disorder when that happens. I would like to encourage ways to help somebody with an anxiety-related disorder. As stated on the KQED website, last updated on December 4th, 2017, schools are increasingly designating safe, quiet spaces for students to retreat when they are feeling overwhelmed. While this is a necessary support in many circumstances, counselors should allow and communicate limits on how long each student can stay in these quiet rooms before he or she needs to go back to class. Show support by showing sensibility and relatability. It makes it much easier to get through and help somebody cope if they can trust you and know that you have their best interest at heart. Also, use insight on their anxiety to better understand anxiety patterns, triggers, etc. Triggers could be places they go where they get really anxious, and study up to see what makes them so anxious about that place. Lastly, I will explain what actions universities take to give their students with anxiety the best possible chance to succeed. Boston University is an example of a university which has a program in place, and this is labeled NITEL. This program is a semester long and helps students with mental illness to learn academic and wellness tools to better help them succeed through the semester and year. As published on the Scientific American website, last modified on December 21st, 2017, NITEL surveys alumni about 4 months after they graduate and has found that 83% are back in college, working, or both. Students reported having better emotional ties, stronger academic skills, less anxiety and depression, and a healthy amount of hopefulness for the future. And the coaches also remain available for students after they graduate and the program ends. Most colleges give students the opportunity of either testing options for their tested anxiety. Also, high schools and middle schools and also elementary schools do this too. An example is a separate test setting, so the student has more time to complete the test, which allows a higher chance for them to succeed. The goal of my speech is to increase others' knowledge of anxiety disorders and to show them how to help someone with an anxiety-related disorder, and also explain what actions universities take to give their students with anxiety the best possible chance to succeed. In closing, I hope that this speech was very informative and increased your knowledge on anxiety disorders so that you could help somebody that you may know suffering from this disorder, and you can use tactics to help them through panic attacks, etc. This knowledge could be very resourceful in the future because you never know if you have family members or friends suffering. Thank you for